All right, what's up, folks? Making my first video in a long time, and I'm at a place that I made my last video, I'm pretty sure, which is a nice little park here in Fishers. Don't really come here as much as I used to, especially since I don't live in Fishers anymore. Not that I'm that far, and I don't have as much time off during the week as I used to. The last video I made here, I was just starting my career as a tour manager. I think just finished our first tour, so that was 3.5 years ago, and it's just been a crazy few years. Obviously, I've traveled quite a bit and made a lot of new friends and all that, but I'm here because I wrote a new book, The Dead Lovers Society. It's been a fun process, and that's kind of what I wanted to talk today about. I wanted to talk about kind of like where I got the idea for the book, just because it's kind of crazy, and I guess I'm learning in the fiction realm you need a little bit of crazy influence to be able to come up with ideas, because it's not easy. When you're writing nonfiction, it's all based on reality, obviously. And my first two books, they were books, don't get me wrong, but they were fairly short, just like self-help stuff. When I was just getting out of college and kind of learning life, and felt like I had some good things to relay to people that were maybe a little bit younger than me, and I still think those books hold up pretty well. But obviously I've developed a lot as a writer now, and it's been 4+ years since I wrote my first two books. Last year I came out with my first fiction book, The Girl I Couldn't See, which was based partially on real events. So obviously most of it was fictionalized, but there was a lot of Easter eggs that were real, and so I had a pretty strong launch pad kind of to come up with stuff for that book. But The Dead Lovers Society was 100% fiction, based on a South Park episode. And as any good creative person or artist does, I got high in Colorado, laid in bed, and watched South Park, and somehow that turned into a book. So the episode is basically, it was an episode I'd never seen before. Basically, anyone familiar with the show will know the characters, but Butter's parents, his dad, got involved in some sexual escapades, we'll just say, and his wife and Butter's mom was so ashamed of it that she was going to drown Butters and kill herself. She ended up sending Butters into the river in a car, thinking that he was going to die, and ends up making up with the husband, and they basically have to cover the whole thing up, blaming it on a Puerto Rican guy kidnapping him. And then all of a sudden a bunch of other people were like, oh yeah, that Puerto Rican guy killed my kid or spouse or whatever as well. And it was people like O.J. Simpson and like a bunch of like well-known killers. It was a really funny episode, and as they all are. And I thought it would be funny to kind of do a spin-off kind of that, and basically have a handful of different people have their own kind of murder mystery type thing, but obviously they all act like it didn't happen, or it wasn't how it actually went down. So that's essentially the basis of the book. It's 5 separate stories, so there's 6 main characters, and their stories are told separately, but they all come together at this diner, and it's the Dead Lovers Society. They meet at this diner. So that's essentially the basis of the book. I'm working on my salesmanship. I don't know how good of a pitch that is, but that's part of the point of this video. Because the book came out yesterday, didn't get an insane amount of buzz around it, not as much as last year. Which that's kind of the whole thing with this video, what I wanted to lay out. And sometimes it's just, I do stuff like this so I can hear it laid out for myself, so I can remember. But after I wrote my first book, it got really good reception because it was the first book I ever wrote, so everyone was real supportive and bought it and was like sharing it and stuff. And then the second book, it wasn't really like that as much. And I actually expected that, because I have seen artists in different realms kind of go through that, where you do something new, you do something crazy, like write your first book, everyone's all about it. And then you do it again and it's not as impressive because you already done it. Even if the book's better, even if it's more work and everything's more thought out and all that, it still won't necessarily guarantee it's going to be better received. So I expected that, and that is exactly what happened. And I'm kind of going, it's day 2. I'm not really worried. I don't really care as much about reception as I used to, but last year I wrote my first fiction book, so it's kind of the same thing where something new comes to the fold and people are more willing to explore that. And now from here on out, I'm interested to see what the response is. But writing for me has always been more about the actual, like, being able to do it, and I feel very lucky to have known since I was in high school, basically, or even 8th grade. And really, you could go even younger than that, back to like 3rd grade, when I technically wrote my first book, which was just a little blank book my 3rd grade teacher gave me. So, I've always had it in me, and it's obviously been something that I've felt called upon to do. So just the ability to do it has been the more fulfilling part of it, more than how many copies did I sell, how much money did I make, and obviously anytime you put time into something, you want a return of some sort, financially or whatever. But writing is such a old man's game. I don't know what the number is now, but I know a few years ago the average best-selling author was 52 years old. And when I learned that, I think I was 26 or 25, so I felt like I was really doing well, because I was writing books already, and I was only halfway to that 52 age mark. So once I learned that, it really helped me put all this into perspective, because anyone can write, anyone can say stuff, anyone can put it on a piece of paper and try to sell it. And you got to have some credibility. And the older I get, I feel a little bit more credible in what I have to say, just because I'm more experienced and have seen more and experienced more. So everything carries a little bit more weight. Like when I was, 22, I guess I would have been 23, writing those self-help books. It's like, what does a 23-year-old know about anything? But they were based on my own experiences, and I knew more than a 17-year-old, and so that was kind of the target audience, I guess. And I have gotten good feedback on those early books, so even if it's just from a handful of people, it's cool to be able to have an impact on somebody with the time I put into this stuff. So yeah, it's just cool to have these stories out there, and I keep, it gets easier and easier every time, and it's just fun to be able to go through the process. And I worked on this book for a little bit over a year, there were some stretches where I didn't necessarily spend too much time writing due to exterior circumstances. Essentially, I was heartbroken and didn't want to write for a while. So that's kind of just how that goes sometimes. But I'm going to take a seat. Yeah, and writing has always been the thing that has kind of saved me from some of that other stuff. So I hate when I go through times where I don't want to write because I need to write then more than ever. So those are just things I've learned, you know, and continue to learn throughout these processes, the best way to handle stuff. So yeah, I appreciate anyone that wants to buy the book, obviously. Really, the last book I got such good reception from different people, mostly people I met on the road. So shout out to anyone I met on the road that has been supportive of my non-band ventures. It's been amazing. Some of you guys, the support I've gotten from people. I was just a freaking merch seller, you know, and I've made so many different friends that have been so supportive of my own stuff, and I really appreciate it. But yeah, I'm just gonna keep going and keep writing. I've already got another book I'm going on. Just started writing it last night. I've had the idea for probably about a month now. So it's cool to have an idea I can just pick up where I left off and start going. And obviously another fiction book. For the time being, I'm gonna keep on that path. Definitely will do some nonfiction again. I've been getting back on my history grind, learning about old America and stuff. So it's been stoking the fire a little bit. I kind of want to get back into some nonfiction stuff. But for now, I'm going to keep on the fiction path and keep trying to write the best stories I can. Obviously, I try to mix in some messaging from my own personal beliefs here and there. Try to just get even finer on the details with the writing and try to make it as sound as I can. And I mean, the thing that with this last book I really liked is going through the editing process and reading. It made me really just like enjoy my own writing, which is a really fun thing to be able to go back to your writing and laugh and, you know, think things are really well written. So definitely proud of the work I put into it. And yeah, so I guess that's it. Feel a little bit relieved to have it behind me, and just got to work on the marketing and stuff. That's kind of my next challenge, I think, because the writing for me is just not really that difficult. It takes time, but it's not like I'm really racking my brain over stuff. Sometimes I am, sometimes I get stuck, but like I said, it really comes to me and I feel called upon to do it. So the writing has rarely been the hard part of the job, but trying to get it out there and trying to get it to different people. The last book, The Girl I Couldn't See, I did some Amazon ads and didn't really sell what I hoped because I didn't really have a lot of reviews. So this book, I think I'm going to try to push people to review more. I think I'm going to do a giveaway of some sort of like a gift card to try to push people to do reviews, because even if they're like meh reviews, you know, just having some proof that people read the books and had something to say about it will really help be able to push it more. And I've got to try to expand outside of my circle a little bit more too, because I have a really great network of people in my life right now, but it's still relatively small compared to the rest of the world. So I would like to tap into those markets a little bit more as well. You're not just the couple hundred people I know, and, you know, try to expand to maybe the couple 100,000 people or whatever. So that's the next kind of challenge for me. And, you know, self-publishing, obviously it's all on me. So, which is, I like. I mean, this book, you know, I came up with the cover, I designed the cover myself, did all that, you know, I formatted the whole thing, obviously I edited it with the help of my mother. Thank you, Mother, for helping keep me straight, and all that. So yeah, and obviously the marketing is on me as well. So that's the next kind of step, and we'll see what I learn with this one. I'm interested to see. But yeah, it's kind of important to fall in love with the work to a certain degree, but also keep a separation where it's like, if this book flops or, you know, barely sells any copies or people don't like it, you know, that's just something I did in the past, and I believe in it. I want people to read it and like it, but at the same time, I've got other stuff to get done, and you know, it's more about the process and the nights when I'm by myself, sitting on my patio writing. You know, that's really what it all comes down to. So obviously, when people appreciate it, it's great, but it's not the end of the world. So yeah, but if you want to support, I appreciate it, and I would love to hear any feedback from anyone that buys it. Obviously, I'll put it in the description of this. Most people that see this will probably have already seen it on my social media, but yeah, so that's basically it. I will perhaps talk to you soon. I don't know. I am off the road, obviously, so I have a lot more time for stuff like this, but I don't know what I'll have to say. I used to make videos walking around here and walking around other places, going through different life lessons and all that, and nowadays I kind of just do my thing and don't think about as much, don't think about stuff like that as much, just kind of going forward and stay focused on myself a little bit more. So yeah, we'll see, but I'm gonna keep writing, I guarantee that, and there will be another book at some point. But in the meantime, while you're waiting for that one, you should read this one. And if you haven't read any of the others, you know, go back and see what's up. I might just link my whole author profile so you can go read all 4 of my books, and or you know, gift them to a kid, like those self-help books. I read both of them last year just to make sure they were still good messaging, and I still believe in those books and the words, and still live by those words, and still are fueled by the decisions I made because of those words in the past. So yeah, 3-year-old Dylan, he had some sense. He knew what he was doing for the most part. So yeah, go do him a favor and read those, or gift them, and do yourself a favor and read some of the other work as well. And I'll also link my newsletters, which I'm going to get back into. I kind of took a break this month while I was finishing the book, but those will be coming back out soon. I've got just a standard life, etc. type one, and then I've got Heavy Pockets, which is the more money focused one. And I try to make it not super crazy, like stock talk type stuff. I try to do topics that are interesting to anyone, because money is interesting to everyone, because we all have it and need it and want it. So yeah, I'm gonna stop rambling now. Have a great day.